敬礼传承祖师，敬礼了明和尚。
First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Mang Liao Ming, homage to Master Sakya Zhengkong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Dubden Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice tonight. Guru Padmasambhava at the copper-colored mountain of Udayana. All Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma tutors, directors of temples and centers, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good evening, everyone. How do you do?
你好，大家好。先早，感恩。愛してる。サラメ。オラミコ。ケケロムチョ。すごい。一番。気持ちいい。住民。やぴ。プリンプリン。こんばんは。今天呢，我们修的是
Today we practiced Guru Padmasambhava's Dharma.
刚好配合上
Coincidentally, it matches the question being asked today
这个你问我答啊。
in the Q&A.
请师尊夫公开。
Grandmaster, please do not.
不要公开，那就不要问。
No. Then no need to ask.
他的姓名。
Please don't tell my name.
顶礼师佛，阿弥陀佛。
homage to Grandmaster Amitabha. Generally, in the religious world, Pilinga and Hariti are gods of the world, and their Dharma practice, their practices also belong to the worldly practices. However, at the Spring Blessing Grand Ceremony, Grandmaster taught us that Pingala had attained the 3 insights and 6 transcendent powers, thus being at the level of an enlightened being. I realized that this child is a transformation of a great bodhisattva of the 10th ground and should not be simply dismissed as a worldly deity or god. Because the heart of a child is the Buddha's heart. From the era of Sakyamuni Buddha to now, 21st century, Pilinga stays a little child, has not grown up, because Buddha nature is constant, forever innocent and brilliant. Also, his mother, Hariti, was educated by the Buddha, transformed her small love for her young son into great love for all sentient beings, and thereafter protecting the Dharma, which is also the performance of a bodhisattva. This is a transformation of a bodhisattva too. So after hearing Grandmaster's Dharma teaching, I deeply felt that this Yaksa mother and son although in the body of heavenly beings of Yaksa are in fact a high-level bodhisattva who travel among people, bestowing blessings and educating sentient beings. Although they are known to the world for their mundane practice, but deep in their hearts they still show the practice of bodhisattvas. Therefore, I want to learn the Dharma of Pingala, the wish-fulfilling youth, to assist and guide sentient beings to develop confidence in the body bodhicitta of liberating sentient beings through mundane worldly practices and prove the great way of liberation. When learning the wish-fulfilling youth, there is still a doubt. Please, I would like to ask Grandmaster, in the book you taught us a mantra, heavenly spirit, earthly spirit, the spirit of the lotus leaf youth, let the command be executed. She. The word she is the mantra and the basis of this lotus youth, the lotus leaf youth, the wish-fulfilling youth, Pilinga. So does that mean that Pilinga come from Amitabha Buddha? And Pingala attained realization from the alms bowl of Sakyamuni Buddha. So all his merits and attainments come from Sakyamuni Buddha. So does that mean that his origin was Sakyamuni Buddha? However, there are thousands of moons on the thousands of rivers. So Pingala transformed into the world due to different causes and conditions. And his origin was Sakyamuni Buddha and Amitabha Buddha. Just because the moon is on a different river and the rivers are different, but the moon continues to shine brightly. Thank you, Grandmaster, for your compassionate advice and answer to this question about the origin of Pingala. I pray for your blessing, and I hope that I can attain fruition and liberate myself and others. So the question asks if Pilinga, the origin of Pingala, was the origin of Pingala Sakyamuni Buddha or Amitabha Buddha? That's his question. Let me tell you, because we practice Guru Padmasambhava Dharma tonight, Guru Padmasambhava was born in an ocean called Dhanakosha Ocean, on top of a lotus blossom. So he was born out of a lotus blossom. And Pingala was Shakyamuni Buddha's alms bowl, and a lotus leaf grew from the alms bowl, and he was born from the lotus leaf. So his 3 insights and 6 transcendent powers came from the blessings of Sakyamuni Buddha's alms bowl. So the lotus leaf grew from the alms bowl, and he was seated on the lotus leaf. That's why he was also called the lotus leaf youth or child. Lotus leaf and lotus blossoms are inseparable. Think about it. How can you just have the lotus blossom without lotus leaf? How can it be called a lotus blossom then? right?
那么只有荷叶没有荷花，
But if there's only lotus leaf without lotus blossom, that's not right either.
来配，
Because the leaf has to be
所以我
accompanied
们
by
看
a
那个
flower
看
or
到那个莲
blossom
花，
to
莲
be
花
right.
就是荷花嘛，
So
莲
lotus
花、荷花
blossom
都一定是有荷叶的，
will
所以莲
always
花
have
跟
lotus
荷叶都是
leaves.
一家啊。
So that's why lotus leaves and lotus blossoms are
那么
one
莲花都
family.
是阿弥陀佛的啊，
And
荷
lotus
叶当然也是
blossoms
阿弥陀
all
佛的。
Amitabhas, and the lotus leaves, of course, belong to
这个
Amitabha
咒
too.
啊，天灵、地灵、荷叶
So
童
this
子灵，
mantra,
积极如
the
律
heavenly
令现，
spirit, earthly spirit,
是我
the
创造出来
responsive
的啊。
Pingala, execute this command immediately. She. This is the mantra I
它是中
created.
文的咒语啊，
It's Chinese,
当初的时候
Han
哪有中
Chinese
文的咒语？
mantra. But back
中
then
文的
there
咒语
was
是
no
天灵灵、地
Chinese.
灵灵、荷叶童子灵，
So the Chinese mantra
是我自己创造出来的。有天灵、地灵、荷叶童子灵，积极如律令现，加上一个现字，这个荷叶
So
荷
and
花是不分的。
this Chinese mantra, I added the xie
所以才
syllable,
加上一个现字。
and lotus
我
leaf
当
is
初的想
inseparable
法是
from
这样
lotus
的，
blossom. So that's
因为啊，
Amitabha.
释
So
迦牟尼
that's
佛
what I
到
was
最后
thinking.
都没有人知道他去哪里。
Because nobody knew where Sakyamuni Buddha went.
大部分来讲，
Or
他
the
是在
mantra may heaven
色
respond, may the
就
earth
近
respond.
天，在色就是偏近天了。
So most people believe that he is in Akanishta heaven.
韦斯奴，韦斯奴
That's
就是
a
偏近天
Vishnu.，
就叫偏近天。他是在偏近天那里说佛法，色就近天，就色界最高
Which
天的
is
地方。
Akanishta heaven. So that's the highest heaven in the
本来就不分的嘛。
heavenly realm of
那
no
这
form.
个
So that's why they're inseparable.
这个荷叶童子、满愿童子、宾杰拉童子、毗律因港。
So
本地
lotus leaf child, wishful feeling child, Bilinga,
也可以是阿弥
its
陀佛。
origin can be
因为
both
我用这
Sakyamuni
个
Buddha
咒
and
语，
Amitabha Buddha.
是因为我
I use
我
this
加上去
mantra,
这个咒是
this
是
sixth
我给他
syllable
的，
I added and I gave it
这
to
是
him.
中文的咒字嘛，是我给的。
And this is a Chinese mantra
我们常
which
常
I
念啊，
give. We
天灵
often
灵、地
chant,
灵灵，
may the heaven respond, may the earth
请
respond,
你8月15来就行。天灵灵、
inviting
地灵
you
灵，请你8月15来就行。我们以前小时候念的，四卡是零零零，请你8月15来就行。我们在用香这样子念嘛，
inviting you to
那个
come.
浮在地上的那个青蛙，
So
小
we
孩子当成
we
青蛙，
chant that,
我们念
and then
天灵
a
灵、
kid
地灵灵，
acts like a
请
frog.
你8月15来就行。念一念，
So we
就开
chant
始
that
跳，
mantra,
变成青蛙跳。
and then that kid
青蛙神
became
来
a
附身。
frog because the frog spirit or the frog god came to attach to that
所以我就
a
把它加
child
上
or
去，
kid
天灵地灵，
and would jump
荷
like a
叶童
frog.
子灵，积极如律令现，
So I added this.
就这样子，是我加的了。
So may the heaven respond, may the earth
阿弥陀
respond,
佛，
may
因
the
为荷
wish
叶跟
leaf
荷花
lotus leaf
是分开的，
child respond.
有荷花就
And
有
I'm
荷叶，
commanding you,
有荷
share.
叶就有荷花。
Where there is a lotus blossom, there's lotus leaf. Where there's lotus leaf, there's lotus blossom. That's what I was
不知
thinking.
道对不对？
I don't
你去
know
问
if
嘛。
that was right or not. Ask. Go ask.
这是回答那个这个隐明的 这个人所问的问题。
So this is the answer to this question.
今天在法座上这
Today,
个非常的甜
on
美。
the Dharma throne, it was so sweet.
这个叫做你说禅定嘛，也是甜的。
If you call it meditation, it was sweet. If you called it a nap, that was also a sweet sleep.
都是很甜。
Sweet meditation, it's all very sweet.
我有跟地藏王菩萨讲，
I did tell
以后
Siddhikarma
你不可以跟
Bodhisattva,
我用息表，
you should not wear a seatbelt on me in the future.
睡觉嘛，那息表，把我绑
Because
起来，睡不着。
dozing off, and when you put on the seatbelt, I could not fall asleep.
他有时候会给我弹指，这样，
Sometimes he snapped his fingers,
我醒过来，气死我了。我一
and
看
then I woke up.
是不是那
Oh
个
no! And then I look around.
连续法师来我这里给我弹指，在
Was it
这底下给我
Reverend
弹
Yen
指
Shi that snapped his fingers right down there?
就会看没有啊，
He's a
他没有给我
busybody,
弹指啊，谁给我弹指？
but he did not.
还是地藏王菩萨。
So who did it? Siddhikarma
我跟他讲
Bodhisattva.
说，你以后卖过下给不，不要管
And
我的
then I
事，
told
不
him,
要管我的事。
please don't be a busybody. Don't mind my
像孙悟
business.
空一样大闹地府。
Otherwise, I would be like the Monkey King, creating a
他以后不给我弹
raucous
指了，他没有了。这一
in
次
heaven, and then he didn't do that again. So that's why this time it was such a
我没有睡
peaceful
着，我自己不知道。
nap. I don't know if I fell asleep or not.
我只记住刚刚开始
I
修法的
totally
时候
forgotten about it.
那个莲华生大师的
I
话，
just remembered that we started out practicing Guru Padmasambhavas.
后来等到张开眼睛的时候，很有精神。
And then when I opened my
非常好。
eyes, I was fully awake. That's great.
我有跟地藏王菩萨以后少管我的闲事。
I told the Siddhikarma Bodhisattva not to mind my business.
有三个地方
Grandmaster's origin, there are 3 places. One is Golden Mother's place.
那瑶池金母是我的本尊呐、
Golden Mother is my
还有
yidam,
阿弥
right?
陀佛那里，
And
阿弥陀
then
佛是我的
Amitabha
本
Buddha's
尊呐、
place, Amitabha Buddha is my
还
yidam
有地
too.
藏菩萨那里啊，
And Siddhikarma
瑶
Bodhisattva.
池金母的瑶池仙宴，昆仑山
The
这个
primordial
刚峰的上面
ponds, fairyland is Golden
是
Mother.
瑶池仙宴，
And then that's
然
above
后阿弥
the
陀佛的西方极乐世界，阿弥陀佛的净土，
the fierce peaks.
地藏
And
王
then
菩萨的
Sukhavati,
翠微
Amitabha
净土，
Buddha's Pure Land. And then the
三个都
Choi
是
Pure
我的
Land of Siddhikarma
我的
Bodhisattva.
这个好像是说本地啊，3个地方都是我的本地，
So these 3
我就有
places
3个本地在，
are my 3 origins. So I have 3
所以这个宾宾
original
港有2个本地，
ground
那就不算什么
of faith place. So it's no big deal that Pilinga Pingala has 2 origins.
讲个笑话吧。
Let
小
me
时
share
候
a
啊，
joke.
我阿公
When I
带
was
我去
little,
算命，
my grandpa
结果
took
算
me
命
to the
师说
fortune
我
teller,
以后的工作
and the
跟
fortune
大
teller
便
said
有
that
关系。
my future career
Oh,
is
阿公啊，
related to
只有我这个金孙，
physics, to poop.
他当下就很急呀、于是督促
And my
我
grandpa
努力用功，
has
不
only
然以后会
one
当个
precious
挑
grandson.
肥的、
So he always urged me to study hard, otherwise you could be the one who's taking care of sewage. So I got educated as a medical doctor, and now I'm a rectal and anal specialist director. So the fortune teller was very accurate. So rectal and anal specialist director. An employee told his boss, this is like text messages. Boss, I will quit at the end of the month. And the boss said, sure. But this month, the end of this month, but there will be no salary for you then. And the employee asked, are you sure that you will not pay my salary this month? Sure. And the employee said, I passed as a public officer, and now I will work at the tax office. And then the boss said, oh, I was just kidding. I will pay you your salary and your annual bonus. And I will tell our accountant, that's a good job. Work hard.
A
judge asked a witness in the court, have you ever been captured? No. Have you been here before in the court? And the witness said, no, it's my first time. And the judge said, but you look so familiar. Very familiar. I must have seen you somewhere and not just once. And the witness replied, that was I'm working as a receptionist of a motel. And the judge says, then, okay, you can return. No problem. Taiwanese motels are different from American motels, but let's not talk about it. When I was living in seclusion, Reverend Piyen came to find me, and I asked her, where did you stay? And she told me. And then I went to look for her wearing my Lama outfit. And when I saw it, she was living in a Taiwanese motel. As soon as I got in, they were so shocked that a monk is here. Amitabha.
笑死！我们讲维摩诘经啊。
Now we will expound on Vimalakirti Sutra. This part is very difficult to expound.
这个真的是很不容易体会的。
It's not very easy to understand. It's not easy for the
听的人也不
speaker
一
to
定听得懂。
explain, and it's also not easy for the listeners to understand.
释迦牟尼佛跟
Shakyamuni Buddha
大目犍连讲，
told Maha
你
Maudgalana,
去维摩诘那里去
you
看病。
should go and inquire Vimalakirti's
目犍连跟释迦牟尼
illness.
佛讲，佛陀
And Maudgalana
我
told
实在
Sakyamuni Buddha, World Honored One,
没有
Buddha
资格
I am really not
去那里
qualified
看
to
他
visit him
看维摩诘，
and inquire about his
为什么
illness.
呢？
Why?
你看舍利佛也被他修理马哈修理
Sariputra
修
had
理
been
手哈，
educated,
目犍连也是一样，
and
被
Maudgalana
维摩
also
诘
the
修
same,
理
had
马哈
been
修理
educated
手哈。
by Vimalakirti.
他说以
He
前呢、
said,
我进入
before
比亚离大城，
I entered the great city of Vaishali,
目
which
前
is
释
that
迦牟尼佛
city
说法的那个城，
where Shakyamuni Buddha gave
以
Dharma
理
teaching
向中啊，为诸
and was
居士
teaching
说法。
Dharma to lay people
目
in
犍
an
连在
alley.
那里为这个白衣居士说法，很多的
Maudgalana
居士
gave
听他说
teaching
法。
to many lay people.
这到底对不对啊？
Is this right?
再来这一章就不是了，不是接下去的，
This is not consecutive.
这从头到尾都不对。
This is all wrong.
原文呢？
Where's the original text?
这全部不对。
This is the wrong text.
啊，这个是不对的啊。
This is the wrong text there.
所以很难讲。你看，我早就知道很难讲了，
So it's difficult to explain. I knew it
因为他根本弄不对的给
because
我
it's the
吧，
wrong text.
没有原文怎么讲？我要
If
看
there's
原
no
文才知
text,
道
how
他
can I
他在
explain?
讲什么嘛。
I need to read the text in order to explain it.
他为
To
很
know
多
what
的
it's talking
这个
about.
白衣居士说法，白衣就
So
是
he was teaching
在家居士。
Dharma to many lay people,
这个
which
时
is
候啊，维摩诘来
people
了，
robed in white, referring to the lay
他就来
practitioners.
对
At that time,
目犍连讲
Vimalakirti
话。
came and said to
Hey.
Maudgalana,
目犍连呐，你为白衣居士说法，
Maudgalyayana,
不当如
when
人
you
者所
teach
说，
Dharma to lay people, you
不
should
应
not
该
speak
像
like the
你现在
benevolent
对
ones
白
do.
衣居士所讲的，
You should not
不应该
be
这样子
like
讲，
how you are
你
doing
不
it
可以这
now.
样子讲，
You
直
should
接
not
就
speak
质
like
问他，
this.
你不可
He
以这样子
pointed
讲。
directly to him.
我这里没有讲说这个当时目犍连怎么回答，为什么不可以这样子讲？
He
难道要怎么讲？
Maudgalyana did not ask like, oh, why not? Or what should I
其实
say
按
then?
照当时的情形是这样子的，
So the situation then was
这个目犍连他所讲的话，
Maudgalyana
是讲说这
spoke the
个
Dharma that was
观受是苦，
that all
观
sensations
身不
and
净，
oh
要
that
观想自己的
observe
身体
that
是不
our
干净
body
的，
is impure. to observe or be mindful that all sensations and perceptions are suffering. And observe that your mind is impermanent. Your thoughts are ever changing. It's always impermanent. And observe that everything has no self. So Mahagyayana spoke on these 4 points. And Vimalakirti told Mahagyayana, this is Dharma, it's right. That observing that the body is impure, that's of course correct. And observing that all sensations suffering, that's correct too, because most of the time they are sufferings, because sufferings and happiness are interchangeable. You think it is a happiness, actually it's suffering. And then when you think it's suffering, it's not necessarily happiness. So they are interchanging and came from the same source. Come from the same source. So nothing wrong about saying that. Observing that sensations are suffering and observing that the body is impure, that's right too. And in the human world, there are more sufferings. And then Mahagyayana also said, and to observe that your mind is impermanent, your thoughts are ever changing. It is not fixed. It doesn't stay. The thoughts are ever changing. So the thoughts are impermanent. And to observe that everything has no self. And according to Buddha Dharma, that's no self. That self is non-existent. Those were all correct. So Vimalakirti did not say that he was wrong. But you should not speak like that, because that's not the basic nature of Dharma, the basic characteristic of Dharma. You should speak Dharma according to the Dharma itself. That you should speak according to the characteristics of Dharma. And not talk about the relative Dharma of relativity. What is that?
相对的法，我们讲的相对的法，就是观受是苦，观身不净。
The Dharma of relativity is to observe that the body is impure. So it's relative because, and dualistic because the opposite is pure, right? And saying that all sensation is suffering, then suffering and happiness are also opposites, right?
一个这个无常，无常的相对是
And
有
then
常。
the next one is impermanent, right? So the opposite is permanent, impermanent, and permanent.
那相对的就是我啊。
And then no self, the opposite would be with
那
self.
这4个字啊，我告诉你，
So
在
the
高王经
4
里面有
words, which is
叫
in
常
the
乐我净。
Hiking Avalokitesvara Sutra, it is called
反
permanence,
过来讲，
blissful, self
常
and
乐
pure.
我净，
But the
常
opposite,
乐
permanence,
我净，
blissfulness,
目犍连所
self
讲的
and purity,
刚好相反。
which is
所以
the
这个
opposite
维摩诘
of
讲说，
Mahagyayana
故说法者
said.
当如法说。你要讲
So
出
that's
真
why
正法的本
Vimalakirti
质，
said that You should speak the Dharma according to the Dharma itself, to the nature, the characteristic of the Dharma itself, not talking about relativity, because the lay people have superior spiritual roots. So you should not talk about dualistic Dharma, but you should talk about the true nature of the Dharma itself. And Vimalakirti said, what is the basic nature or characteristic of the Dharma itself? That Dharma is devoid of the phenomena of sentient beings, and it is free from the impurities of sentient beings. This phrase, that the basic nature of Dharma has no phenomena of sentient beings. There are no phenomena of sentient beings with respect to the basic nature of Dharma. Do you understand? This is the phrase from the Vajra Sutra, the non-phenomena of self, other sentient beings, and lifespan. So the basic nature of Dharma is devoid of the phenomena of sentient beings. All of us together sitting here, we are all sentient beings, but 100 years later, none of these people will be there. Right? We will all be gone. If you are still in the womb and not born yet, you would be 1 when you are born. At 1, you're born with merriment. At 10, you're into your studies. At 20, you're at the top of your youth. At 30, you're into your career. At 40, you start to gain weight. At 50, you're at your prime. And at 60, you start to have hypertension. At 70, you start to be forgetful. At 80, you wobble when you walk. At 90, you lost your memory. At 100, you're hung on the wall. After 100 years, all the sentient beings are gone. So, will the Dharma exist? Of course. That's why the Dharma has no phenomena of sentient beings. So the basic nature of Dharma is devoid of phenomena of sentient beings. Why sentient beings are called the phenomena of sentient beings? Because they arise due to causes and conditions. Because you believe in true Buddha school, that's why you're seated inside the Lezang temple, coming from all over the world, listening to the Dharma teaching. That's causes and conditions. The Dharma of causes and conditions. And they are arising and ceasing in the causes and conditions. Just like a couple. Now you're a couple, but there's arising and there's ceasing. It does not mean that it disappears when you die. There are many people getting divorced nowadays, 50%. Get married, get divorced. That's normal. If you're abnormal, you don't get divorced. Getting divorced is normal. That's why you're all abnormal. You're quite abnormal. The divorced ones are normal. Everything is ever-changing. Getting divorced is also the Dharma of causes and conditions, and they're all false, or fake.
这是法，真正的法是离开众生相的。
A true Dharma or true Dharma is apart from the phenomena of sentient beings. Listen carefully.
它很难讲，非常难
It's
讲。
very difficult
我今
to
天
expound.
讲给你们听，也是
I am explaining it to you today, but with great difficulty.
婚姻已经是人
A
生大事
marriage
了。
is a major event in a human life,
告诉你，
but it is also a dharma of causes and conditions.
法无众生，离众生扣故，就是说，
So dharma
法
is
的本质
devoid of sentient
本
beings
身
and
是
free from
离
impurities
开
of sentient beings.
众
So
生
it
相
means
的。
the basic nature of dharma is apart
这是
from the
维摩诘
phenomena
讲
of
的。
sentient beings, spoken
法
by
的本
Vimalakirti.
质无有我，离我扣故。
The basic nature of
无
dharma
我相，
is without self and free from the
法的
impurities
本
of
质
self.
是无我相的。他
So
跟
the
目犍
basic
连
nature
讲
of
是无我
dharma
相的，
has no phenomena of self.
这是法的本质。
Spoken by Maudyakalana, by Vimalakirti.
你以为有
That's the
我，
basic nature
根
of
本就没有你。你以
dharma.
为卢
You
胜彦
think I exist? No,
我常常
there's
讲
no
卢胜彦
you.
三个字。
I often say
台湾一共户口
圣
普查
彦卢
一共有16个卢胜彦，
that
哪个是
in
卢胜彦？
Taiwan there are 16 Sengyen
有
Lus
16
when you
个。
check the census.
你的名字
So
跟人
which
家的
one
名
is
字不
Sengyen
是
Lu?
一样吗？
So
卢
your
胜彦
names
是
are
谁？
exactly the same as
那
others'
16个都是卢
names.
胜彦，都站起来哟。
Who is
我就是
Sengyen
卢胜
Lu?
彦。
16 of them
那
would
到底
stand
谁
up
是
and
真的
raise
卢
their
胜
hand
彦？
and say, I'm the Sengyen Lu. So which one is the real Sengyen Lu?
这样对不对？你自己想一想看。
Right? Think about it yourself.
法的本质是无我相，这是
So
《金
the
刚经》里面
basic
讲的。
nature of
我
dharma
相、人相、众
is the
生相、寿
non-phenomena
者
of
相，
self, others, sentient
法
beings,
的
and
本质
lifespan, spoken in the Vajra
是
Sutra.
没有这个我的。
So the basic
事实
nature
上，
of
这个有
dharma
也
is
是暂
without
时
self,
存在的，是因缘法。
and the self in the world is also
因
temporary. It's due to the dharma
因
of
缘
causes and
聚合在
conditions.
一起，地水火风组成，
When the causes and
有一天你会散
conditions
掉。
comply,
有生有灭。
it's made up from
这是因
the
缘法。
earth, water, fire,
法的
and
本
burn,
质是无生
and
无灭。
eventually it will disintegrate and arising and ceasing due to causes and conditions. But the dharma itself is non-arising and non-ceasing.
法
So
没有
Vimalakirti told
我相
Maudyakalana
的，法的本质是没有我相的。
that dharma
听得
has
懂
no
吗？
phenomena of self. Do you understand?
我，你现在讲说我
Now you say
坐在
I
这里说法，
am giving dharma teaching, seated here.
我年轻
I'm
的时
seated
候
here
啊，
giving dharma teaching.
年轻的时候我没有坐在法座上说
When I
法。
was young, I wasn't
等我再
sitting
过几年以后，我
on
也
the
不能
Dharma
坐在法
throne
座
giving
上
Dharma
说
teaching,
法。
and a few years later, I
没有
will
了。
not be sitting on this
这
Dharma
是
throne
因
giving
缘
Dharma
所生
teaching.
法。
They're gone. So that's the Dharma of
终有一天我不能坐在
arising
这里说法，
due to the
不是
causes
几
and
年了，
conditions.
这钉钉啊，
Eventually, one day, I
就
wouldn't be
没有我
here.
了。
Not that many
四大
years,
假合的
I'll
东
be
西啊，
gone.
地
There's
水
no
火
more
风，
I.
四大
no
假
more
合大家都知道
self.，
地水火风嘛。
It's just an aggregate of the
以后就
four
没有了。
elements. We all know. In the future,
所以
it'll be gone.
法的真
Or I will be
本
gone.
质就是
So the
没有我
basic
相的。
nature of Dharma
法的
is
本
without the
质
phenomena
啊
of
是
self.
没有受者相，叫法无
And the
受
basic
命
nature of
离生
Dharma
死故。
also has no phenomena of lifespan and transcends life and
佛
death.
法是不生不灭的法的本质啊，
And the
它
basic
没有
nature
生
of
没
Buddha
有灭，
Dharma is non-arising and
从来没
non-ceasing,
有法
no
说
birth and
这个
death.
我什么时候生出来，什么时候死掉，没有。
There's no
法是
Dharma
不
that
生不
would
灭。
go through birth and
受
death.
者相，什么叫受者？
Dharma
时间
It's non-arising, non-ceasing. And what is lifespan? It refers to time. You don't know when. There's no beginning and no ending. That's the basic nature of Dharma. So the phenomena of lifespan is time dimension, and the phenomena of sentient beings is spatial dimension. So since I am non-existent, everyone else also non-existent. One day we all will be non-existent. That's why it's the non-phenomena of self, other sentient beings, and lifespan. And that's the basic nature of Dharma. So Dharma has no lifespan and transcends birth and death. Dharma is not born nor die. If you've studied history or geography, you would know the transformations of the whole universe, or the transformations of the earth, that you can find fossils of shells at the top of the mountains. Those were the bottoms of the oceans in the past. You can tell. What do you say? How do you say it? Mountains become seas, seas becomes mountains. How do you say it in Cantonese?
They are
interchangeable. The Earth's cross transformation has gone through several times. That's why where are human beings? They are born and they die. And humans kill themselves. They're creating nuclear bombs. Why don't they eat chicken eggs and duck eggs? And you want to eat nuclear eggs or nuclear bombs, and Chinese bombs and eggs are the same. So, that's why I often say that human beings create problems for themselves. Else you just put down all your weapons and weaponry, and then what should you do? Then you'll have a boxing ring or something, or like a fighting, you know, like Ho Yanjia, Wang Huihong, all the martial artists. And Wang Huifeng is the cloudless legs, and grandmasters have iron legs because my legs are swollen. Then you don't kill that many people, right? So why do you create problems for yourself? You're inventing all those bombs. You know, you don't just eat eggs instead of bombs. So human beings are really troublesome animals. So the Dharma has no lifespan and transcends birth and death. The Dharma is devoid of people and severed from any binary extreme. So no phenomena of others. And I have said it to transformations. And human beings live amid crevices
就是成住坏空。
that the whole universe
成住坏空，到最后都没。
undergoes the
总有
creation,
一天也是这样子，
existence,
大家都一样，
deterioration,
成
and
住坏空。
annihilation, and extinction.
真正法的
Every
本
one of
质啊，
us
是
will go through
没
it.
有人相，没有我
But
相，
true Dharma
没
is
有众
devoid
生
of
相，
phenomena
没
of
有受
self,
得相的。
phenomena of
这是
others,
法的本
phenomena
质。
of sentient beings, and
为什么
phenomena
呢？
of lifespan.
法
That's the
常
true
常
nature of
非
Dharma.
常的
Why?
怡然，
Because
很静
Dharma
寂，
is
还没有作为的，
extinct and
寂
serene
灭无
and
相
has no actions,
所以《金刚经》里面讲的
extinct of
话就
any
出来了。
phenomena.
无我相，无
So
人
this
相，
is
无
what
众
the
生
Vajra
相，无
Sutra
寿者相。
states. No phenomena of self,
有
other sentient
相、
beings, and
实相、
lifespan.
非相，
The
真
real
正的相
phenomena is non-phenomena.
没有形象，
Phenomena is
无相。
non-phenomena. The
法
real
的真正的
phenomena
本质
is
是无形
devoid
无
of
相，
any phenomena.
不生
The
不死，
basic nature of
无
Dharma
形无相。
has no form and no phenomena.
这个法的本质是离开一相，没
So
有所谓的
Dharma
因缘。
has no phenomena and no affinities.
这是维摩诘讲的。
In Dharma, there are no affinities. Vimalakirti
法哪有什么
spoke.
名字啊？
How can Dharma has a name?
这样子讲，我把《金刚经》引到维摩诘
So
讲的，大家都比较听得懂。
if when I apply the Vajra Sutra to Vimalakirti, then you can understand it better.
法的本质啊，无我相，无人
The
相，无
basic
众生
nature
相，无
of
寿者
Dharma
相。
is or has
法
no
的本
phenomena
质
of
啊，
self,
是
other
实
sentient
相
beings,
非
non
相。
and lifespan.
真正法
The
的
basic
实
nature
相
of Dharma
就
is
是根
that
本没有形象，
phenomena
就是法的
is
本质。
non-phenomena. Real
维
phenomena
摩
is
诘跟
non-phenomena.
目犍连
Non-phenomena
讲
is the
的，
real
讲那些
phenomena.
都什么东西嘛？那么小儿科的，跟
So
小孩子讲
Vimalakirti
的。
told
这
Malgalyana
个
that
法的真
what are
实
you
的法
talking
是在
about?
这里呀。
That's just
法，这才是真正法的本质
a
啊。
very novice,
目犍连都不
Dharma
懂，
spoken for
不懂这
novice,
些的。
but this is the true Dharma.
毕竟
And
他
Malgalyana
学
did
的
not
还是
understand this before
戒律比较多一点，戒
because what he studied
守戒
was
守戒
mostly
律。
precepts.
你跟白衣居士讲守戒，
And you were
白衣居士都不要去喝
talking
酒
to the lay people about precepts, then the lay people
不能喝酒，
could not go drinking,
杀盗淫妄酒，守这五戒。
the precepts of not to
这
kill,
五戒
not
一
to
守的
steal,
话，
not to
人
lie,
也不要
not to
喝，
commit sexual adultery, not to be intoxicated.
淫
Then
都不行啊。
by abiding these precepts,
不淫还
abiding
会
to
有
these
人吗？
precepts, you can
对
live
不对
on. If you don't have
那人家白衣就是
sex, how can you have children?
你出家人
For
当然
lay
可以你守这个戒
people,
律啊。
for the
因为
monastic
你当
people,
然
of
你可以
course,
守啊，
you
在家人
should
哪里
keep
能
the
够守
precepts,
守这
but
个
for
戒
the
律？
lay people, how can they?
而我们记得，
So remember,
法无有人，前后既断故。法常
the
寂然，
Dharma is
灭
devoid
诸
of
相故。
people and severed from any binary
对法离
extremes.
一相，无所
The
缘故。
Dharma is
法不
serene
是
and
因缘
extinct
所
of
生
any phenomena.
所以言
Dharma
是
has
因
no
缘所
phenomena
生
and
的法，
devoid of affinities.
本来就是空的。
That's why the Dharma of the arising of
因缘法，
causes and
所谓因缘
conditions
法，
is
你看佛
intrinsically
所讲的
or inherently
的苦集
empty.
灭道是相生的，是相对的。
So
苦
the
集灭
Dharma
道是
of
相生的，
arising is like the Four
所
Noble
有因缘
Truths.
法是相续
It
的，
gives
是连续的，因为有
birth
这个
to
才
each
会有
other,
那个，因为
and the
有这个才会有那个。
links
所
of
有因缘
dependent
法
origination to
那都不是
interdependent,
法的本质。
And that's not the basic nature of Dharma.
所以这个维摩诘讲的法是非常深的。
So the Dharma that Vimalakirti spoke on was very profound, and that's the basic nature or the quintessence
我
of
们讲到
Dharma.
这里，今天就讲到这里了。
That's all for today.
讲个笑话吧。
Let me share a joke.
这个校长啊，有一天啊，路过
The
学校的后门，
school
突
principal
然听到有一个学
passed
生讲
by the
我要考
back
牛津。
gate of the school and saw and heard a
这
student
个
said,
校长啊，
I want
马上非常感动，
get
流
admitted
泪
to Oxford
没想到在自
University.
己的学校
And he
有如
was so
此的
touched
有志青
that
年。
there's this
他
student
决定是看看是
that
哪位同
has
学。
such a high aspiration and
走到
decided
墙
to
边上
walk
来看，
out
原来
and check
有一个
which
路边摊。
student. It turned out there
这
was
个
a
一
food
个学
stall,
生在讲，
and a
我还要再
student
买，我
continued.
要烤
Oh,
牛
it's a play
筋，
of word of
然后再
Chinese.
一份牛
So
小排。
Oxford University sounded like a beef tendon. So I want a beef tendon and beef stick. And then the principal fainted.
非常感谢法王圣尊莲。